why doesn't NOAA currently search around reefs for red snapper in stock assessments? Red snapper is a reef fish. Wouldn't it make sense to survey around reefs?
Thank you for the question. NOAA does conduct a number of reef fish surveys which looks for red snapper across the Gulf. Some of those surveys intercept them around reefs and others don't. They do not make, in these independent surveys, they do not make a special effort to highlight around reefs because that would tend to bias the surveys in terms of the reefs. We are aware that there are a number of data sets involving the abundance of red snapper and others around reefs, and we were looking for ways to incorporate those into the stock assessments, accounting for the sampling bias that you always have when you say that you're going to sample in a particular place. We think it can be done, and it should work into the stock assessment. And we certainly think that information that is generated through the Restore Act should be used and incorporated into our stock assessments.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that you're still going to sample random parts of the ocean, not necessarily going where the red snapper usually live. Am I correct about that answer?
We use a standard random sampling design. Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, obviously, if you're looking for timber wolves, you wouldn't go to, say, a desert. Certainly, you wouldn't look for polar bears in Florida. So again, if it's a reef fish, why not sample on the reefs?
The fish exist throughout the Gulf. They are prevalent on the reef. They are a reef fish, but they also exist everywhere else. They are ubiquitous throughout.
Well, let me ask you this. That's your opinion. Do you proof that they live apart from the reef as much as they do around the reefs?
I think you are right, Congressman, that they are much more abundant around the reefs than everywhere else. But they do live everywhere else. They do.
We don't have it. We haven't been monitoring. We don't have any science, any data to actually support that.
I believe there are data to support the fact that they're prevalent on the reefs.
So I can get on to the next question. Would you please submit to the committee the data, the science that supports your statements on that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Number two, NOAA's past practice has been to wait 6 years or more to assess trends before using a new source data. Wouldn't it make sense to incorporate new data right away and adjust as more data becomes available? In some sense, isn't that what NOAA is doing by using a predictive model and then adjusting after more data becomes available? In other words, the data that you may actually begin to use could be as old as 6 years. Obviously, you know, I can understand looking at trends, but why not look at data as recent as it's put out in your science?
Thank you. We do tend to look at both types of data. If data is immediately available for some purposes, you can use it immediately. There's certainly biological data on species health, species presence or absence that you can incorporate immediately. But when you are looking at trends, as you indicated, it takes a while for those trends to develop. And for trends, you do need to wait and incorporate those into the science when the trend becomes available. But there are some subsets of data that you absolutely should be using immediately.
So you would then agree that while it may have a value for trend purposes, that as soon as it rolls out, we should be quite willing to utilize it immediately?
It depends on what it is. Not all data tell you the same things. Certain things can be utilized immediately in the stock assessment and should be. Others only tell you information about trends, and those you need to wait. But we should evaluate the data that we get, and the ones that are appropriate to use immediately, we absolutely should be doing that.